is fully in the process of draining the swamp, but the uncertainty for many is, will he expose the entire pandemic? For people who injected themselves in this experiment, there's enough public evidence to be concerned. If you were forced to get the shot to work, travel, or maybe you just trusted the system back then, check out this natural solution. Formulated by Dr. Peter McCullough in collaboration with the Wellness Company. And they just leveled up their original detox formula for $30 less. Introducing the 3-in-1 Ultimate Spike Detox, conveniently consolidated into one capsule, with 4 times more nattokinase, 500 milligrams of bromelain, and 500 milligrams of turmeric root extract. Nattokinase, an enzyme researched for its anti-clotting effects, may work to break down spike proteins. Combined with bromelain and curcumin, it provides a potent blend for detoxification and cellular support. Crafted with 100% natural ingredients, Ultimate Spike Detox is backed by research, offering effective support for your cell's natural repair and recovery. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. Peter McCullough, a top freedom-fighting doctor who risked it all. Head to twc.health/Beanz and use code BEANZ for 10% off plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/Beanz and use code BEANZ for 10% off. Get back to that pre-COVID feeling. Good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, and we are like literally almost through the week. Remember, tomorrow is a Frank show at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, pre-recorded in the morning because we can't get our S together. Frank needs to do his show. I got to do we want to do the show together. It's just, I'm making concessions. Who do we have in the chat today? We have Zelly, Anna Banana, Hammer O Justice. Of course, the hubby's here. It always makes me happy. Sharon's here. Amber J. John is here. We have Elisa here. We have CJP. Dave's here in the chat. We have Adam. Baldwin Mike. Who else? My scroll button's not working. If you're here, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me. Hit a thumbs up. Share it out with your friends. I'm gonna start with a. You know what, Adam? Let's take a minute. Adam. For those of you who don't know, we're gonna take a minute here while I have my soapbox. For those of you who don't know, before this show, we have a pre-show. And it's on locals only, and it's for local subs only. You might want to get over there because there's a lot of feistiness that goes on that pre-show. During the pre-show today, and most days, I was wearing this red hoodie because I was a little chilly over this purple t-shirt. And since I know that as this show goes on, I get a little bit more hot, because I get animated, I took off this red hoodie and just kept on my purple t-shirt. So Adam in the chat here said, what's with the wardrobe changes between the pre-show and this? Sometimes on the pre-show, I'm wearing a different t-shirt than I wear on the actual show. Adam apparently takes note of this and holds it to the side to bring up randomly in chats. It's purple. It just looks blue because of the lighting. It's not blue. I promise you it's purple. I wonder how I can prove this. Wonder if... No, I didn't get a flash. Anyway, I shouldn't be having to have these discussions with you people on the show. I should be able to start my show. Yes, Adam is absolutely trying to start with me today. I mentioned that on Wednesday, I'm going to get some new photos done because my photos right now don't adequately reflect my appearance. I don't think it looks like me very much. And he started saying, didn't you just do that? And then like criticizing me and trying to poke holes in my timeline and comparing things to other things. And we got in. I'm like, why am I having this conversation? I'm going to get new pictures. I have to give them to a bunch of different people. And the pictures that I have do not reflect me currently. You people is what I mean. So anyway, if you have children near you right now, I would definitely, well, first of all, consider joining the pre-show if you want to see me really take down Adam, which should be a fun experience for all. Just get your popcorn and get all ready. But outside of that, if you have children around, definitely hide their ears because we're about to start the show off right with a New Yorker ranting about driving. And I didn't do the volume on any of these clips today because I was too busy arguing with Adam. But you really, really need to hide your kids' ears and just listen to this. I'll give you a 3, 2, 1. This is so true.
These fucking stupid, selfish, ignorant, delusional drivers are fucking up the highways. Slow left lane drivers don't put shopping carts back and don't hold doors open, and they get out of their car at bank ATMs and they leave shitty tips in restaurants. Slow left lane drivers are fucking up this country. Listen up, you turd gobblers. Get the fuck out of the left lane right now! What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell are you thinking? If you're in the left lane going the same speed or slower than the middle or right lane, then get the fuck out of that lane! And if you're driving the same speed as the right lane and it's only a 2-lane highway, then get the fuck out of that left lane again! You pieces of shit are blocking the entire highway when you do that!
Indeed. I listen, I can't tell you how many times over the past 3 months I've been driving over 100 miles or more and have had to deal with that on a highway. Many times. Many times. Also, I wanted to do a little tribute to our men today, because I do appreciate our men very much, and I wanted to do a little tribute to them today, and so I found this.
Ooh, that is a broken leg. Wow, is that bone sticking out? Ooh, gnarly. Well, I should probably go to the hospital now, or later, or tomorrow, or, yeah, I'll just walk it off. Help me! Am I dying? What did I do to deserve this? God?
It's time to go to heaven, Roger.
Ooh.
Men, can we discuss why it is that you absolutely refuse to go to the emergency room when you need to, but the second you get a sniffle, it's like the world has ended and you're on your way out? For all of your toughness, this is a reality. Right, Will? Right? Yeah. Yes. Men. Yes. Okay. This came across here because mommy, it's true. This came across for me here, and it's Rogan and Musk, and he's talking about the politicization of NASA and these astronauts that are stuck up there in space right now that could be coming home if it weren't for Biden.
Are you still rescuing those people that are stuck in the space station?
Yeah, that's coming up in a couple weeks, I think.
Whoa. They've been up there for how long, Jamie? They were supposed to be there for a couple days, right?
Actually, for like 4 weeks. Oh, they're supposed to be there. They were supposed to be up there for like 8 days.
Yeah.
And they've been up there for like, I think, 8 months. So a little longer than expected.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What is it going to be like for those people when they get back? They're going to be a wreck for a long time, right?
Yeah, if the longer you stay up there, you get, sort of in 0G, you get increased bone loss. So, it ended up being like this political football, and sort of hotly contested topic. And we offered to bring them back early. This offer was rejected by the Biden administration.
Why?
For political reasons.
That's so crazy.
There's no way that they're going to make anyone who's supporting Trump look good.
Wow. What do you think they would have done if they had won? How would they get those people back?
No, they can only get them back with a spacecraft. But they pushed the return date past the inauguration date.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they would have let you do it, but after the...
Yeah.
Wow. And so it would have been them authorizing you.
Well, there isn't anyone else to do it.
NASA can't get them.
The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft is the only one that is considered safe enough to bring them back.
Can you imagine if we didn't have the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft, these people would be stuck up there forever? And yet, Elon Musk wasn't allowed to do it until after the inauguration because it might have made Biden look good. I also want to go back and address the comments because I'm right. I almost waited too long when my appendix burst to the point my colon had changed colors. I don't typically overreact to being sick. There is an overreaction, and then there is an actual legitimate emergency, Hammer, of which you were a part, okay, when your appendix bursts. And also, I would like to welcome to the show. I would like to welcome to the audience today. Where'd it go? E Bogey Mama, finally here live. Welcome to the live experience of the With Beanz podcast. It's so good to have you. Now, further in our feel-good news of the day, which I don't know if you guys saw this, but I loved it. We've got 2 interviews here with DJ. DJ is the most amazing kid ever. He is definitely here for a reason.
Yeah, you think your friends are going to be jealous?
Pretty much. And I'm pretty sure my girlfriend going to be jealous. Cause she ain't gonna be. I say you can't. I'm gonna be like you gonna have to hit the road jacks because I'm a Secret Service now. I'm not. And if you touch me, you going to juvenile straight out. And I ain't gotta ask your parents for nothing. I'm sending you straight to jail.
You know, DJ, when you get older, you'll learn that women have an interesting way of dealing with those situations. A lesson for another time, young man. It was good talking to you. Thank you. Yeah.
My girlfriend's gonna be jealous. You know my girlfriend's gonna be jealous. And one more, Natalie. Here, wait, hold on. I'm doing some on the go production today. Here. Hey.
DJ Daniel, all of the above.
It really don't matter to me. I love women, so I don't care.
That's amazing. DJ Daniel, I want to ask you, first and foremost, do you love President Trump? And are you so excited to be here on the White House grounds?
Obviously, because I gave him a great note that says Donald Trump is the best president of the United States of America.
And why do you feel that way?
Because honestly, I honestly wanted to see Donald Trump in real life, and now it actually came true. And to my friends, I know one of my friends told me to say this to Donald Trump, but I didn't say it to him. So good luck, buddy.
Last thing, because we know you got to bounce. What would your one piece of advice for the Secret Service be?
Please stop being mean to President Trump, because if I see you being mean to him, I'm coming after you.
I love that. I think you need to become the director of the Secret Service. DJ, it is such an honor to have met you.
Hold up, I got one more thing to say.
He has one more thing to say. I won't interrupt you.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your bumper.
You are about to go so viral, and you went viral last night.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of acting like Miss Candace Matthews from Houston, Texas.
That's amazing. Do you have anything else that you want to say? You should just take my job at this point.
May bless America.
How about that, Steve? I think we found my replacement, your replacement.
Thank you.
Would you ever run for president?
I'm not sure. I'm a little bit too young. Well, really and truly, I'm not young. I'm I'm a 50-year-old trapped in a 50-year-old body. I might look 13, but I'm 50.
I love that, and it sounds like you gotta go. The War Room Posse loves you. It's an honor to have met you, sir.
I can't go yet because I see a little bald spot. I rub bald heads for good luck, if you know.
I think they want you to go, so I think you're gonna have to go.
What the hell, man? I would give anything to sit in a room with this kid for 15 minutes. I'm right on your bumper, he says. I will be right on your bumper. Now that we've gotten our appreciation for the young man out, yesterday I was talking about Jasmine from Texas, okay? And I wanted to show you because when she first ran for state office, I was like, are those the same people? Because she was very articulate. She went to a private school. She went to Rhodes. She's a Rhodes scholar. Like this, let me show you. This is what we're seeing right now. Hold on. This is what we're seeing right now.
How about that? It's 0. And I know people gonna feel away. Listen, all I do is give y'all facts. So you come back to me when you don't get that check and say, Jasmine, you were right. Just like y'all want to get out there and say all kinds of, other stuff. But come back, because you're getting 0. I know these people. I work with these people. These people is not about this life, and they don't care about you.
Okay. So then we've got that. And please forgive me for this audio because it's not in stereo for some reason. But look at this. Look at this difference. Hold on.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense, so please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do, for sure. We got some cool shirts. The congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat. And I was just starting to get into the rhythm of doing constituent services and things like that. We got Madam Williams, who just happens to have the honorary seat. It's not even honorary because she's holding it down, y'all.
You see what I mean? It's an act. The whole thing is one big act. One massive grift. Here. Look at this. Hold on. I got something else for you because I feel like it's important.
And as they have decided to go after immigrants and and things like that, and they've said, oh, they taking your black jobs. They taking your black jobs. Not really. They are obviously jobs that they want us to go back to, such as work in the fields, all right? Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time. And clearly, he is trying to make us go back to the fields.
So all of the ways in which they can kill.
Do you see what she just said? She's literally saying that we're enslaving immigrants. And she's okay with that. Really, 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 really crazy what's going on with the left. And as a matter of fact, I'm not the only one who's noticing because 10 Democrats joined today to censure this man.
Is that he will...
Ay, with the technical difficulties on a Thursday. It's all Adam's fault. I'm blaming it all on Adam. Here we go.
Call Congressman Green to the well... Oh, there we go. Let's listen in.
To answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. Will Representative Green present himself to the well? its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
They're singing "We Shall Overcome."
The House had come to order. The House had come to order.
Censure all of them. Censure all of them. Censure them for this. Censure them for this pathetic display of I don't even know what. What this is what they think is they've lost the plot so badly, acting like freaking NPCs. And you know what? You know who's noticed? You know who's noticed?
I cannot tell you how refreshing it was to wake up this morning and hear from other Democrats and see on my post other Democrats who are just as furious and ready to friggin' jump ship as I am. I'm not buying into what they're selling, because after what we saw yesterday, I'm actually glad that they pulled that yesterday, because people like me who have been disillusioned by the Democratic Party for a long time got to see an evilness there, got to see a diabolical side of the Democratic Party who's basically saying, we want you to fail. We don't care if you fail. It's like the scene in The Wizard of Oz when they finally go back to see the Great Oz and they pull the curtain back and it's just a little old man just standing there like that doesn't have a fucking clue.
She's so beside herself.
I'm not going to be afraid to voice my opinion anymore. I'm done. I am done. I am done. And you're not going to bully me off my own page by thinking logical thoughts. I'm not going to be gaslit by my own party. Not one day more. Not one day more.
Very good. And also, we have this. This is also telling.
I voted for Democrats my whole life. They never did anything they promised. They would come to the black church and sing some Negro spirituals with us and then disappear, peer. Once they got our vote. They never did anything they promised. I vote for a Republican once in my life, and this dude done did everything he promised on steroids. He ain't even been in office 2 months, and everything I voted for, I'm getting. It's amazing. Do he sleep? Like this dude, if he sleeps, he wake up on a mission to do what Nakia voted for. He said, Nakia want me to fix that border? I'm on it. Nakia want to make sure them tax dollars is being spent for Americans more than anybody else? I'm on it. Like, this dude wakes up, I feel like, with me in mind. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he be thinking about me. It's like being at the casino.
So good.
You put in that Democrat coin, you put it in and you pull the thing and no, you gonna win. You gonna win. You put in another Democrat coin and you pull the thing and no, you didn't win. You put in that Republican coin. I put in a Republican coin for the first time. Pulled the ding, ding. I freaking won. Wow. So you know what that tells me? That tells me to never vote for Democrats again in life. Ever. Because you're not going to win with them. I voted for a Republican once and hit the jackpot, honey. I will continue to do that again and again and
And I just want to say something. Listen, lady, I love you. Nakia.Dion on TikTok. They let us down too. This is very different. Hope the trend continues. But it's not typical. I don't want her to get jaded and think that the jackpot happens every time you put the Republican coin in that slot machine, because I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you that is not the case. But let's keep trying. I mean, hopefully they'll stick to it, given the reaction. Hopefully they'll stick with it. We're moving into medicine now, and this clip that I saw, it's a bunch of clips today because they need to illustrate my point that I'm trying to make and the things I'm trying to talk about. Watch this.
I have ultimately closed my clinic. I have let go of my prescription capacity as a doctor. I can no longer prescribe drugs because I am convinced the only thing I can really do with a drug now is harm. There is no way that a human, myself or otherwise, is going to find a new chemical that is going to change the potential or capacity of that temple to do itself better. I just wholly now understand that to be absolutely an impossible premise because the design was so perfect at its origin. And any disease is a decrement away from that original design, not a failure of the design that now needs to be improved. We are that original design of this most complex expression of light interacting with water, interacting with protein, or the expression of building blocks of life itself. And for that, we built these temples that we call bodies, you know.
This is an amazing clip, and it is so true. It is absolutely true. It's something I say all the time, and we need to remember that while we come to this. I was looking for clips for things, and I came across the trailer to this new movie by Mickey Willis, and it's going to be hard, but we got to watch it together as we move into what is going on and what is changing with our health institutions and what they're saying and paying attention to now that we got the jackpot.
Maddie? The first question was, why isn't the United States looking in our own backyard for our data?
Madeline, hey honey, it's Daddy.
But they were. They just weren't telling us what it said.
Maddie? 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 Hey, what's the matter?
I need to take this out. Help. I need this out. I can't do it.
Most of you have never heard of me.
I did my part. I got it.
And most likely have never heard of most of us here.
I'm scared and sad and hurting too. I am you, and I just want someone to help me too. Thank you guys.
I would like to introduce, I'm proud to introduce, Miss Brianne Dressen.
I don't know where to go. Her cause of death, her actual cause of death is not on this thing.
Thanks for returning my call.
And I did not want to be the one to give my mother.
And I'm still burning.
Stomach issues. Everything started hurting.
Every single day.
The worst part was I could not walk. I couldn't move my arms or legs. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move.
Shaking.
I couldn't think about moving my legs.
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel anything.
They're not calling the FDA, they're calling us.
You know, I don't want to die. I want to still live for my kids.
Blood clot in his internal jugular vein.
Next week is his birthday. You know what I'm going to celebrate his birthday at?
Why it is the responsibility of sick people to do this is beyond me. I participated in the clinical trial for AstraZeneca.
She participated in the Pfizer COVID vaccine trial.
They dropped me from the trial.
35 adverse events. Reduced to functional abdominal pain. It's a stomach ache. I wonder what else was hidden.
The truth is not out there. And it's thanks to these guys. They've done everything they can to hide people, to hide injustices, and to even literally hide the cries of those people that are suffering.
If we try to talk about it on social media, you get banned. People don't know we even exist.
Denise Hertz is on an email string with the heads of the NIH.
These are safe and effective products.
The CDC.
There is no bad time to get your second shot.
The heads of the FDA.
We have very good safety surveillance systems in place.
If you look at VAERS database,
There are more than 1,000 neurological side effects already reported.
None of us are denying that there's potential vaccine injury here.
We already have 1,200 people who've died.
And that's in about 2 months of availability.
For these mRNA vaccines, there is incredible BS out there about thousands of people dying, etc. That just ain't true.
This stack of patients are patients that are stuck.
There were 50 to 100 reports going missing. I mean, VAERS IDs being disappeared.
If they put down that it was a vaccine injury, they actually won't get reimbursed, so it gets labeled as anxiety.
Diagnosed with vertigo, severe panic attack.
Functional neurologic disorder.
Factitious disorder. So basically, she was making it up.
I was muffled. I was told I was wrong. I was told to go home, and I was told not to talk.
These are human lives. They're just going to stay in limbo forever.
There was a whistleblower early on, Brooke Jackson, last year.
I contacted the FDA and submitted a formal complaint.
They're unblinding patients.
How many studies do you run where you take the placebo group and give them vaccine too?
I threatened to go public, no matter what the consequence was.
The government killed my baby. I'm not going to stop this fight.
I told my family that I was going to end my life.
I gotta look at my son and tell him, honey, I'm gonna be okay. But in my heart, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. I don't know if I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be in a wheelchair the rest of my life.
It broke my son to hear that his mom wanted to die because she had gotten a COVID vaccine.
These are human stories. These aren't people with political agendas.
If I was an anti-vaxxer, I wouldn't have been standing in the freaking line to get the shot.
I just want my daughter back.
So this story has everything to be interesting, right? You've got scandal.
FEMA had offered me money if I changed my son's death certificate from enlarged heart to COVID.
You've got secrets.
The FDA wanted 75 years to release this data.
And what the FDA did to me was contact Pfizer and get me fired.
We don't have any secrets here.
You've got money.
A patent for the Moderna vaccine is owned by the Department of Health and Human Services.
And power.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
At the base of this story, the very center of this story is love.
I won't sleep until this war is done.
Because without validation, without love, without acceptance, healing cannot happen.
We can't give up.
Let's get you some of your life back, okay?
And we can't give in.
I know that I'm on the other side of the country, but I promise you, you're not alone. So that's what this story is about. It's about love. I'm not going to give up. And I'm not going to give up on these people.
You need to definitely put this on your list of things that you need to watch. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Because this is going to be a little weird when I talk about this. I always try to remind myself, given my personal experience with this, of which there is a lot, that you will always cause your own suffering when you think you know what another soul's journey should be. And I don't know that we would be at this point where we're at if it hadn't been for these folks and so many others speaking up over so long a period of time. I don't know that we would be able to have these conversations without a large majority of the population thinking that we were still crazy. It's pharma in general. It's the COVID vaccines. It's this mentality in Congress.
So for parents out there who may think that vaccines have something to do with autism, there is no scientific evidence that it does. And it disappoints me greatly that neither you nor the Secretary now of Health and Human Services are willing to say that declaratively and strongly, because what you do when you hesitate, what the Secretary does quite cynically in my view, when he hesitates about this, is you churn and sow doubt and worry at a time when we should be focused on actually finding the cure, the cause and the cure of autism.
So when I see things like this, when I am a carnivore who eats meat, as the only form of my sustenance. And I see the Department of Agriculture on a tirade to get the cattle and the chickens vaccinated with the very thing that caused the deaths and disability and outright torture of so many people. And then I look and we get loud and we make phone calls and we yell, and then this happens.
At the end of the day, we had a pretty massive 5-point plan. I was 1 week on the job. This problem started years ago under Joe Biden. Our 5-point plan was almost $1 billion, $500 million for biosecurity to lock the barns down. Number 2, how we get the repopulated flocks back after Joe Biden culled and depopulated almost 160 million birds. Number 3 is deregulation, getting the government off the back of some of these chicken farmers so they can get back out there right away. Number 4 is importing eggs. We announced a deal with Turkey last week to import almost 70 million eggs. We've got another couple coming online very soon to get eggs on the shelf immediately. And number 5, the longer term plan was putting some good money into vaccine and therapeutic research. The vaccines are not ready yet. A lot of people wanted us to move vaccines out right away, but we just didn't believe it was the right time. Not enough research had been done, and we need to ensure it will actually help the problem, not make the virus stronger and jump to other species. So that's the 5-point plan. But the other thing I want to say, if you don't mind, Chris, is we're talking about the high.
I don't care about the cost of eggs right now and whose administration it happened under. I care that she actually talked about leaky vaccination with mRNA and the fact that it could cause more problems than it will solve. And outside of that, we got this. Yesterday. Hold on. It's supposed to be in order. Here, this. From the new director of the NIH, because there's no way he's not going through.
It shouldn't be just the proper role of scientists in a pandemic is to answer basic questions that policymakers have about what the right policy should be. Our role isn't to make decisions to say you shouldn't be saying goodbye to your grandfather as he's dying in a hospital. It shouldn't be to say you can't have a funeral because it's too dangerous. The scientists should say, here's what the risks are. And then you decide what the risk, whether you take it. The role of the scientist shouldn't be to say you can't send your kids to school for 2 years. That you can't you should close hospitals so that they can't treat heart attack patients. That you should not the role of scientists should be to address those problems by giving good data, and then let people make the science should be an engine for freedom. Knowledge and freedom, not something where it stands on top of society and says you must do this, this, and this, or else. It shouldn't be pushing mandates for vaccines that have been like the COVID vaccines that were tested for a relatively short period of time. I took the COVID vaccine myself, but I think that the mandates that many scientists push have led to the lack of confidence that so many of the public has in science. If science is a force for freedom and for knowledge, it will have universal support.
Amen. This is the new director of the National Institute of Health, also saying other things, which I have here to show you if I could get my tech right today. Here, listen to this.
Hundreds of research papers. If the data generated by scientists is not reliable, the products of such science cannot help anyone. It is no stretch to think that the slow progress on Alzheimer's disease is linked to this problem. The NIH can and must solve the crisis of scientific data reliability. Under my leadership, if confirmed, it will do so.
i.e., stop doing bunk studies and wasting money. I have to tell a story, which I've never told before, about Dr. Bhattacharya. I have interacted with Dr. Bhattacharya a few times because of the work I've done on Missouri v. Biden, and I have never had the opportunity to meet someone of his stature that is so humble, kind, sweet, complimentary. He is a stellar human being, inside and out. He is now going to be running the National Institutes of Health. He also said this, which is going to make a lot of you very happy. And I want to say this again. One of the things that was an issue for me during the Trump election season, but wasn't a deal breaker for me, was Trump's stance on abortion. And it was important, but it wasn't something that was going to make or break whether or not I voted for him. Given what he had done in the past, I just couldn't see it being true. And I don't think it was. I don't think any of it was true. I don't hear.
Asked now Secretary Kennedy directly if he would reinstate President Trump's policy that prohibits abortive fetal tissue research in NIH-funded grants. He said that he would. Let me just ask you the same to make sure we're all on the same page here. Do you support that policy? Will you prohibit the use of abortive fetal tissue in NIH research, NIH-funded research?
Senator, I'll absolutely follow the lead of Secretary Kennedy and President Trump on this. Just very quickly, may say why it's so important that we have alternatives. Because during the pandemic, I would often be on Catholic radio, and people would ask me whether the mRNA vaccines were made or developed with fetal stem cell lines. And I had to say yes, and they had a lot of the folks who were calling in had ethical objections. In public health, we need to make sure the products of the science are ethically acceptable to everybody. And so having alternatives that are not ethically conflicted to fetal stem cell lines is not just an ethical issue, but it's a public health issue. We need to make sure that everyone is willing to take the kinds of progress that we make.
See how sweet he is? He's just a kind person. He's just a kind person. And we also got this out of Dr. J yesterday.
I had the opportunity to question the author, one of the co-authors of the now infamous proximal origin paper. Dr. Robert Gary is the individual who I had the opportunity to question. He wrote that paper on March 17th, 2020. You probably remember, Doctor, this is the paper that infamously stated, and I'm going to quote it now, that the SARS-CoV-2 is not a laboratory construct or a manipulated virus. Under questioning by me, Dr. Gary admitted he actually had no knowledge of that at the time. He wrote that in March of 2020. He had no evidence to suggest that was the case. This was, in fact, a piece of purist propaganda. He has since had many of his research products withdrawn from peer-reviewed journals because he hasn't followed appropriate peer-reviewed standards. This effort, this propaganda effort, and that paper, as you remember, was used as the basis of government-directed censorship to those in the scientific community, like yourself, to millions of ordinary Americans. The net effect of this was a tremendous loss in confidence by the American people in the NIH and in our public health officials. You and I have discussed the vital importance of restoring some of that credibility. Talk to us about how you see going about doing that.
Senator, that episode is a low point in the history of science. The top officials of the NIH abused their position to hide support for research that may have caused the pandemic. And I commit to making sure that all of the activities of the NIH, not just backwards, but going forward, are transparent and open to the American people and to Congress.
I'm glad he finished through the banging to get him to stop. Then today we got Dr. Markery. Here we go. Wait. I listened to a lot of his hearing today, and we're going to go down the food route a little bit. We have conflicting, what seems like an internal war here, and I don't understand it, and I want to say this again. For everybody. Everything is important, not just one thing. While one thing is more intrinsically, quote, and immediately harmful, i.e. taking the COVID vaccine, or any vaccine in my opinion, what is equally as important is making sure that we are actually healthy so our immune systems can fight off the things they're trying to vaccinate us against. It is one big wheel. If we are metabolically unwell and physically unhealthy, it is much harder for us to be comfortable that we will be able to fend off whatever new virus hits us next, avian flu, whatever. We need to be healthy from our core so that we are connected and have sharp thinking brains, so that we are connected to God. And then that fear of all those other things that makes people run out and get jabbed with a chemical poison goes away. So look.
Ranking Member Ruiz, am concerned about misinformation. The greatest perpetrator of misinformation during the pandemic has been the United States government. Misinformation that COVID was spread through surface transmission, that vaccinated immunity was far greater than natural immunity, that masks were effective. Now we have the definitive Cochrane review. What do you do with that review? Cochrane is the most authoritative evidence body in all of medicine and has been for decades. Do you just ignore it, not talk about it? That myocarditis was more common after the infection than the vaccine. Not true. It's 4 to 28 times more common after the vaccine. That young people benefit from a booster. Misinformation. Our two top experts on vaccines quit the FDA in protest over this particular issue, pushing boosters in young, healthy people. The data was never there. That's why the CDC never disclosed hospitalization rates among boosted Americans under age 50.
Do you see who's sitting next to him right now? Dr. Bhattacharya, FDA, NIH. You get the picture there. You get the picture. This is his opening statement today when he testified in front of the committee.
We now have a generational opportunity in American healthcare. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy's focus on healthy foods has galvanized a grassroots movement in America. Childhood obesity is not a willpower problem, and the rise of early onset Alzheimer's is not a genetic cause. We should be, and we will be, addressing food as it impacts our health. Thanks to the courage of President Trump and Secretary Kennedy, we now have a generational opportunity to usher in radical transparency to facilitate more cures, meaningful treatments, and diagnostics at the FDA to help people take care of their own health. My father told me to write down my observations and my experiences in healthcare and the research I delved into. Much of the research I did focused on the fundamental question, is what we are doing working? I wrote books to educate the public on medical science and to empower them to live healthier lives. If confirmed, I hope to ensure the FDA holds to the gold standard of trusted science, transparency, and common sense to rebuild public trust and make America healthy again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is our future FDA director right there. And he was talking today about the AKIP meeting. He was asked about the AKIP meeting that was canceled. And he was being asked a series of questions about what this meeting does basically is they get together and they try and figure out which flu strains will be most prevalent for next year. And I talked about this earlier in the week. And that meeting was canceled. And of course, the left is very, 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 very upset about this because they just cannot get out of their dogma. And so this exchange happened with him when he's being asked whether or not he's going to bring this back.
The leadership of that center, which decisions, which topics could benefit from.
What goes into a reevaluation? This is done every year, so we know what flu vaccine to have. What are you reevaluating?
First of all, for the last 7 or 8 years that I've been following it, they simply adopt verbatim the recommendation of the International GIP group. But I was not involved in that decision. I will say that there, in my opinion, was a huge difference between requiring every 12-year-old girl in America to take an 8th COVID booster shot versus rubber stamping a recommendation from the International GIP group, which has done 7 out of the last 7 years.
What he's pointing out here, so that you know, is that they didn't have these groups for COVID boosters. they said, oh, it's just accepted. We're not going to have this working. We're just going to recommend it for everybody. And he's saying, we always just rubber stamp whatever anyone else says anyway, but how could you come at me with this when they didn't even do it for the COVID shot and they're having kids take booster after booster after booster? He's calling out the blatant hypocrisy there. This is the new FDA chair.
I'm not saying that the decision is something I was aware of or involved in, but it's certainly something I will look at if confirmed.
Okay, I'm very unclear because the FDA is the gold standard for all of us. And this committee hearing is what has always been what we look to, the FDA look to, the American people look to determine what the flu vaccine is. What are you going to look at to make a determination?
Like, do you see how scared she is? Like, what if we can't have our flu vaccine that the FDA just changed? They just changed, the CDC just changed the way they define the flu vaccine. And the flu vaccine now doesn't even prevent infection at all. It just makes it so you don't die. What are we going to do without our therapeutic vaccine? What are we going to do?
And figure something else out now, decades into this. What are you re-looking at?
Senator, I was not involved in that decision, but the committee looks at...
I assumed you would say, yes, I will reconfirm it immediately so we can let our public health experts and doctors know what flu to have next fall.
As I understand it, the committee members and the scientists at the FDA, the career professional scientists at the FDA, look at the recommendation of the international GIP.
It's like talking to a box of rocks, truthfully. But I'll say it again. How many elderly people would survive the flu if they were actually healthy at their core? How many elderly people would survive the flu if we weren't stuffing Ensure drinks down their throats every single day and instead feeding them nutritious food? Like today, Vani Hari had a thing about how potato chips are changing and they're removing all of the dyes out of them and doing like a simple chip. I'm going to find it because I got to show you. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. They're doing a simple potato chip where they're not going to have all of that other, here we go. Here. Pepsi announced this week that they're removing artificial dyes from 8 brands and released new Simply Ruffles Hot and Spicy without dyes. Can someone explain why they don't just make all Ruffles with Simply these ingredients? I'm going to tell you right now. Let me move myself over here so that you can see. I'm going to tell you right now that you don't want the Simply ones either. Are you ready? Here are the ones right now that they have. Ruffles, Flamin' Hot Ruffles. Potatoes, vegetable oil, canola, corn, soybean, and sunflower oil. Maltodextrin made from corn, salt, sugar, monosodium glutamate, yeast extract, citric acid, cheddar cheese, milk cheese culture, salt, enzyme. Artificial color, 40, yellow 6, lake yellow 6, onion powder, whey, corn syrup solids, buttermilk, Romano cheese, whey protein concentrate, garlic powder, natural flavors, sodium caseinate, and sodium diacetate. I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't pronounce 3/4 of the ingredients on a bag of effing potato chips, read every label. I'm sorry, the show's going off the rail. I can't read all the labels. Let me tell you what their Simply Chips has, okay? Listen to this. This is their Simply Chips. These are the chips that are just simply hot and simply hot and spicy. Potatoes, sunflower oil, because you'll think it's not a seed oil. It certainly is a seed oil. Sunflower oil is a seed oil. Do not see sunflower oil and think, oh, those flowers, they're so pretty. They bloom in the spring. They get so tall. It's just sunflower seeds. It's seed oils. Same frickin' thing. They just think you'll think it's not. Okay? Sunflower oil, corn. Why are you putting corn in a potato chip? Why do you need corn in a potato chip? Next. And what was the corn? corn maltodextrin. What is the corn grown in? What is it fertilized with? What bug spray is sprayed on it? You might think this is extreme, but this is making everybody very, very sick. It gets better. Sugar, brown sugar, salt, yeast extract, spices. Which ones? We have no idea. Garlic powder. There it is again. Natural flavors. What are natural flavors, you may ask? Nobody freaking knows because they don't have to tell you. Citric acid, onion powder, and tomato powder. Why do they need 3 different kinds of sugar in potato chips? Would anybody like to take a guess? Why they need 3 different types of sugar in potato chips? Simply potato chips. You need to still commit to reading your labels. Even if we get red dyes removed and our comparison goes from these 20 million things that nobody wants to, buttermilk, corn syrup solids, like this is your normal bag of Ruffles potato chips. Even if we get down to the Simply Ruffles hot and spicy, you're still being poisoned by the Simply Ruffles hot and spicy, but they're using words that'll make you think that it's better. You're still being poisoned by the Simply Ruffles hot and spicy chips, no matter how many dyes they took out of them. Sunflower oil is a seed oil. Sunflower oil is a seed oil. They're just thinking that you'll be like, oh, it's not corn, it's not soy, it's not vegetable, so we don't have any seed. Sunflower oil is a seed oil. Natural flavors is a catch-all for every horrible, terrible substance you ever want to put in your body ever. They're just lying to you. Even the UK version that everybody's holding up, like people keep saying, we're going to go over to the UK and I come home and I've lost weight and I'm not blah, blah, blah. Here, Ruffles Flamin' Hot, same ingredients. The only difference in the UK is they don't have the dye. Listen to me. Ingredients in the UK: potatoes, vegetable oil, sunflower, and rapeseed. Rapeseed is a seed oil. Rapeseed is a seed oil. And one more thing. Janet in the chat just said, I heard Steak and Shake is now making their French fries and beef tallow. Watch yourselves, because beef tallow is not all equal. A lot of these places are putting a ton of preservatives and additives in their beef tallow because they're too effing cheap to get actual pure beef tallow, and they don't want to reuse it over. They can't reuse it like they reuse their vegetable oils and their seed oils over and over again. So they're putting poison in the pure ass beef tallow, and you're going out and buying your fries and saying, ooh, these are fried in beef tallow. What a healthy choice. I would argue you don't need fries at all, but that's just me. This is what I'm saying. The only difference is that they don't have these dyes. It's basically the only difference, is that they don't have the dyes. Flamin' Hot seasoning has sugar flavoring, citric acid, malic acid, dried garlic, salt, potassium chloride, monosodium glutamate, dried onion, smoked paprika powder, vegetable concentrate, jalapeno pepper powder, spices, herbs, smoked sunflower oil, again, smoked maltodextrin, color, paprika extract is the coloring they use, rosemary extract, ascorbic acid, I can't even say that last one. If you want to use an oil, cold pressed oils are not put through that chemical nonsense. Cold pressed, like real actual. Read some of the olive oil you're buying. Turn some of the olive oil you're buying around and read what's actually in that olive oil. Just make a commitment to me today, please. The next time you go food shopping, turn that product around and read the label on it. It'll say healthy. It'll say seed oil free. It'll say this. It'll say, oh, olive oil. Read it. And eventually, we're going to have the MAHA label of approval for foods. And manufacturers are going to come to MAHA and say, what do we have to do to get that label? And we're going to say you have to make healthy food. And I had a whole bunch of clips on this, but we're out of time. It's 3 o'clock and I got to pick up my dogs from the groomer. So just make a commitment to me today that you will not only read the labels on the back of your stuff, but you will visit our sponsors. You will download the movie that we screened today on the show. No, Gigi, it doesn't. And we will also, you will also leave a comment or a review on the podcast, on the audio platforms for me. And we will be back with Frank tomorrow. But I mean, don't get me on a food tip. If you get me on food, it's all over. That's all I'm going to talk about because it is the foundation of everything. Vaccine injury is terrible. The vaccines are terrible. Make it so you don't need them. Get yourself healthy. Do it by choosing what you put inside of your body. Do it by eating the right way. We'll see you tomorrow.